Hello, you're very welcome to Season 2, Episode 13 of the FinalWhistle.ie League of Ireland podcast. I'm Ciaran Callan. I'm delighted that you've joined with me for this evening's show. Here's what we have coming up. Diarmuid Kearney will be here with me in just a couple of minutes to review Monday night's action as well as Friday night's First Division results, as the league tables have taken a massive shift in momentum and things are getting just that little bit more exciting. We have an exclusive interview with Georgie Kelly of Rotherham United. He talks about his career in the League of Ireland and also about his move to Rotherham, as well as slight international ambitions going into the new season. We'll also have a discussion about the Irish Junior Cup final, and we'll have a reaction from that as Vlfc were victorious. Well, coming into the first segment is Diarmuid Kearney, where we're going to review over the action over the past couple of days. It's been a really, really exciting time in the League of Ireland. I'm delighted to be joined by Diarmuid Kearney. If he comes up on the screen with me in just a second or two. And there he is. Diarmuid, how are you? It's great to see you.
I'm good, Ciaran. How are you?
First of all, did you miss me on the round of grinds? I haven't been on in a week.
Yeah, I know. You've been procured from me from other Dundalk sources. So, hopefully now we'll have you back this coming Friday. Definitely with what's going on with Dundalk as of late. It could be a very interesting night at Oriel this Friday.
Absolutely. Let's start with the Premier Division results. A massive night on Monday night. First of all, the Dublin Derby. Tunde's hat-trick seals the points for Tim Clancy's side. Slider Rovers beat Derry City in another big shocking result at the top of the table, while Shelburne bet UCD in a game that could have been a potential banana skin after UCD's recent win over FinalWhistle. Rotherham United got the result of the night, defeating Shamrock Rovers 1-0, courtesy of former Shamrock Rovers player Ryan Brennan and Daniel Kelly's fortuitous goal. But I think the talk has to be about Keith Ward's overhead kick in relation to that, gave the victory over FinalWhistle. But if we can start with, let's start at the very, very top. Shamrock Rovers defeating Rotherham United, a result that nobody expected. But this is what you would kind of expect during the course of the season, that there's going to be these kind of results that'll pop up out of nowhere. But Rotherham United were full credit of the win.
Yeah, they were. I was looking at the game, and when they took the early lead, I was kind of saying, Rovers are going to get back now. I can't see them holding out for the 1-0. Then when it filtered through that Danny Mandroiu had been sent off for a second yellow card, I said, okay, you've the man extra. There is the chance of holding out, and with Drogheda knowing that they're just above the relegation places, that they really need to start getting those points and keep themselves up in the Premier Division for next season. There were full credit to them. A great result up at their home stadium as well. And as you mentioned there, you are going to have a couple of banana skin games throughout the season. And for Shamrock Rovers, unfortunately, it was that result on Monday night. But results elsewhere have managed to keep the pressure off them just for now. But definitely they'll be looking at Monday's game and knowing that they should have done a lot better if they want to keep that place secured at the top of the league table.
Let's look at Talca Park. Shelburne, by the virtue of the last 5 games, are the informed team in the league, which is great to see. Damien Duff's and Joey O'Brien's kind of work is starting to pay fruition, but Jack Moylan once again has just been a revelation. A lot of people are saying, why was he released from his previous club in the first place? He seems to have really settled in at Shelburne. But that win is big momentum for a Shelburne side that want to stay well away from those bottom 2 places.
Yeah, they do. And, it's full credit to them. They've done really, really well. A lot of people were questioning Duffer's role at the club, whether he should stay or go. And he's managed to get those results that have definitely shown how capable he is as a manager. We saw what he could do on the field as a footballer. Now we've seen what he can do on the sideline managing. He definitely has the passion. He's installed it definitely into the brains of the players that he has at the moment. And they've produced some fine football. They've looked a quality team so far this season, and they're full credit to where they are in the league table at the moment. They're definitely that mid-table spot secured, and they could finish even higher up if they get those results. But credit to Shelburne, the way they're playing at the moment. They're definitely going to be a doozy side for anyone who goes to either Talca Park or faces them away. Big stat for them as well is if you look at away form, they're second in terms of if you were to just take the away games so far this season. They've definitely been a force to be reckoned with, even though they're only up in the season for the first year and a bit.
St. Patrick's Athletic, Tim Clancy once again doing their business kind of that little bit quiet. They get a big win and a big hat-trick for Tunde over in the Dublin Derby. Another team that's going to be pushing for those European spots. St. Patrick's Athletic will be going to Oriel Park full of confidence. But I wouldn't say there was discussions whether Tim Clancy was going to take time to bet in at St. Patrick's Athletic going to the changes of manager. It looks as if he's just settled in the right way, and he's getting results at the right time.
Yeah, he is. Like you look at the game on Monday night, when they brought in a player like Tunde, he comes with goals. Anyone from a Finn Harps, should I say, perspective, who would have seen him at Finn Park, has seen how good he is in front of goal. And when you bring in a player like that, if you want a natural goal scorer in this league, give him the opportunity. Now it was only Hatcher going to give him 4 goals for the season. I thought he would have had a bit more by now, but he settled in well there, as is Tim. And Tim has shown that he is a good manager. He's capable of getting those results. And going to Oriel Park now, they'll be looking to try and get back at Dundalk. And Dundalk are in 3rd, St. Patrick's Athletic are in 4th. It'll be a nail-biting fixture on Friday night. But if they can get those chances and get the opportunities in front of goal, I think it's going to be a nightmare for Dundalk on Friday, to be honest with you.
Let's look at showgrounds. An unbelievable result. Liam Buckley on Sunday morning. It was released very early in the morning that he was being himself and Slider Rovers have parted way since a manager that is so well respected and revered in the League of Ireland. The plaudits coming out about him have been, it seems to be a very kind of respectful parting of ways. It doesn't seem that there was any kind of animosity. But they've gotten the new manager bounce or whatever you want to call it since then. But what a result against Derry City. And Derry City have now got 2 losses on the bounce. Rory Higgins has said it's one of the most difficult periods of his, so far. It's are Derry having the wobble, or is this just kind of a wee bump on the road?
I'd say it's more the bump in the road. They have had a fairly bad few weeks in the league. They haven't really found their form that we've seen earlier on in the year, where they looked a side that could definitely brush past any opposition and keep it on track of the top of the league table. But they haven't shown it over the last couple of weeks. I don't know if it's the guys who are out on the treatment table at the moment, that they might be lacking that bit of quality or bit of experience inside in the squad or anything like that. But all credit to Sligo Rovers and the goal that Seamus Hughes scored, the way he controlled it inside in the box and finished it to the back of the net. You couldn't write it. And Sligo are that team that can grind that result, and they can get those late winners. They can get that little bit of luck that most teams mightn't get in the league. And I was saying it before that Derry were a team that, if you looked at the last 5 minutes of every game, Derry could snatch a late winner or just get a goal that gave them at least a point out of the game. But they didn't seem like they were at the races on Monday. And when I'm sure they knew at halftime what the result or that they were getting fed the result that was happening above in Head in the Game Park, and they knew that Shamrock Rovers were losing. This would have been the time to get the 3 points. But they have an experienced manager at the helm who'll definitely know that, lads, we haven't really reached the halfway mark in the season yet. There's plenty of games yet to go, but I think they do need to focus up and try and get those 3 points again, sooner rather than later.
A point behind them, a game in hand. I'm going to be smiling now, but the Dundalk grind out a two big results in the Northwest. A 2-1 win over Derry City on Friday night, and then coupled with a 1-0 win in a very difficult game against Finn Harps. Now, there's fleeting talks of, how would you say, a late title push and stuff like that. I personally think that's a wee bit too soon, but European spots could be well on the mark at this stage.
Yeah, but before the season started, I had Dundalk in around the European places. I thought they definitely looked, in the pre-season and in the off-season, they had looked to build a bit more of a competent squad. Last year they were struggling in places, but this year they've looked to kind of have ironed out the cracks. They've looked a lot better. And the game on Friday night as well, it wasn't the most champagne football-esque performances by both teams, but the finish, the build up to the goal, the way it was calculated, it was a fantastic goal, and you need those goals to get you into those places. And they're only a point behind. Dundalk could easily finish second if they manage to get those results, and Derry are without a form, or anything is possible. We could be saying Dundalk are leading the league table in a couple of weeks, depending on how Shamrock Rovers perform. You just never know in this league, to be honest, Ciaran.
Well, European football is going to be a big say, because that's when kind of momentum builds as well, and eyes are distracted. Look to the first division, and there was big results there as well. Wexford getting a draw against Cork City. Galway United won 3-0 in their match, and then Treaty drew 1-1 with, if you could just fill in the blank for me there. Treaty drew with Cove in the Munster Derby 2-1. Yeah. So, I mean, big results there, because now, if I'm not mistaken, Cork are on level points with Galway, if I'm not mistaken. And when it comes to the first division table, it's all happening up there. We've been saying it all season. This has been the most exciting first division in a long time.
Yeah, actually, Galway are 2 points clear at the top following that result the last night. Galway, I was saying it a couple of weeks ago that, when Galway would get that momentum, win those games in hand. Now they're same games played, 2 points clear, and we will come back and discuss it later on in the program. Of course, the fixtures that are coming up this week, they do meet each other at DC Park. That's going to be a huge game. But going back to what you said there, the first division is the most competitive it's been. And looking elsewhere, looking at Saturday's result, Waterford getting a big win over Longford, that result as well was huge for them. They've looked really, really in form. If they win their next game, they'll have won 6 on the bounce. They've seen their manager depart them very early in the season, and since he's gone, they've definitely had that momentum boost. They've looked a lot sharper. They've performed well, and Cork City didn't get the result they would have wanted against Wexford. Now, Wexford have been a bit of a tricky side. They're 3 points off of off the promotion places, but as far as I know, Treaty do have 1 or 2 games in hand still, but they've been a bit away with the races over the last couple of weeks. They've had 2 draws in a row, albeit the same score. They've led in both of those games and then conceded and failed to find the back of the net for the 3rd time in those games. They'll be looking to try and get back at it again, but not the result that they would have hoped for last Friday as well. But full credit to John Caulfield's Galway. They've looked absolutely superb this season. And we look at you see the league table on your screen there, and Waterford they're fairly comfortable in 3rd place now, but it is going to be all about the top 2 going into Friday as well.
We know that there's managerial changes afoot. Athlone are still without a manager, despite the fact that in recent weeks, newspapers have reported that former Dundalk FC player Ciaran Callan and former Cork City striker Carl Shepard are muted to be going to Athlone. There's now discussions whether or not the John Caulfield could be a potential candidate to replace Liam Buckley at Slider Rovers. And with that, then you've got Ian Morris tipped, if there was a managerial turnaround to go with, that he could be going to the West. It's exciting, but at the same time, we're still playing the waiting game over who's going to be appointed where.
Yeah, it is a bit of a managerial merry-go-round at the moment. As I said, Waterford is technically still looking for a main manager. They're still in that caretaker role, but they're flying it at the moment. If the rumours are to be believed, this Friday night could be John Caulfield's last game as Galway manager. Now, if you don't believe what you read on social media, it's hard to say it. But when the news filtered through that Sligo Rovers were looking for a new manager, immediately his name was at the top of everyone's sheet as to who could be the successor. You look at the betting markets as well would say, John Caulfield is definitely the front runner, early favourite. Whether it's the lure of you're already in the Premier Division, could still have a chance at European football, or do you stay with Galway and stick it out for the rest of the season, see how things get on? That's up to him to decide. And then you said Ian Morris there as well. Could he go to Galway and replace John Caulfield, or could he go to Sligo and get his chance at Premier Division football? It's very, very tough to call what we'll see, but I suppose that news will filter out to us in the next week or so as to who will end up where, I suppose.
Listen, that's great, Diarmuid. We're going to have our exclusive interview now with Georgie Kelly, who spoke to me earlier on today about his time at both UCD at Dundalk, then obviously a short stint at St. Patrick's Athletic and then Bohemians before his move to Rotherham United. He also talked about the fantastic work at UCD and amongst others. It's a great interview, and we'll have that coming up now. You're very welcome back. And then our next segment, we're going to be talking to a former League of Ireland player who is now playing his trade over in England, and he is playing with Rotherham United. I'm delighted to be joined here today with Georgie Kelly. Georgie, you're very...
Cheers, Ciaran. Yeah, it's great to be on. How's things?
Yeah, no, it's not too bad. It's been a while. I think with COVID and everything, I don't know when was the last time I saw you.
Yeah, it's been a while now, yeah, but good to see you again.
Good to see you. First and foremost, the move from Rotherham in January was, it was a bit of a late bloomer, but then you certainly endeared yourself to the fans, scoring the winning goal that sealed the promotion to the championship.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad start on that side of things. Wasn't a bad debut, but yeah, it took me a while to get up and running. I was only in the door and I got a pretty bad injury. I tore my calf. So that was a bit of a setback, like yourself. But not to finish the season in the way it did and the highs, and even just for the fans and stuff, to finish in such a memorable way, like it was pretty sweet, like yeah.
And was it difficult for you to kind of integrate, when obviously players sometimes when they're injured, they're not in the changing room as much? Was that a difficult aspect when you're trying to integrate into a new team, or were the lads really welcoming towards you when you arrived?
No, the lads were great. The lads are a really, really good bunch. Really, really genuine kind of fellas. Probably not what I was expecting, really. Heading over to England, which is kind of cutthroat industry. I was probably expecting a little bit more. I don't know. I didn't think they'd be as warming, but they're all great fellas. Like, so that wasn't too big of an issue. And the injury, yeah, that does hamper things a little bit, but nothing too major. Like, I enjoyed my first few months there. Like,
you played your initial League of Ireland trade in UCD. They're back in the Premier Division under Andy Myler. But from your experience, like you were playing amongst players that obviously you would have played at other clubs following your departure from UCD. But how important for you personally, to be allowed an opportunity not only to play football at a very, very high level at a young age, but also to receive your education. As a teacher, I understand the importance of education, but you were given such an unbelievable opportunity to not only get experience both on and off the pitch.
Yeah, it's invaluable, like that mix. And I was actually just speaking with a psychologist over in England about this and about UCD, and he couldn't believe that there wasn't more like international kids coming in, because it's such a good setup, and it's really rare that you get, like, you will get like some universities, but there'll be sport focused universities.
Yeah.
That have a good soccer team, but maybe the degree say you get maybe might not be as lucrative for some kids, but that might put people off. But UCD is an exclusive top college as well, with a high reputation. So to marry that with the soccer setup that they have there, it's really unique. Like, and I was just blessed that I ended up getting in the door and to be a part of that whole system, like, because the education one side of it again was brilliant, but then the other side then is the standards of everything and how things are done within the club. Like, fantastic environment for young players, and I could not recommend it enough to other players who are, say, if there was a player on, because a couple of young lads from around Donegal would be ringing me asking our parents if their kid was potentially going to go across the water, and they'd be asking me about bits of advice. I could not recommend go to UCD higher. Even comparing it to like going over to England or going to a championship club as a kid at 17 or 18 now, I think UCD might potentially is even a better option. Like, with the degree you could get playing senior football, like you're not going over to play 23s. I couldn't speak more highly of UCD and what they do down there. It's fantastic. Yeah.
What was your degree in? Am I right? I'm not sure if you got a degree and a master's or just your degree.
The degree was in commerce,
Yeah.
in UCD, and I just finished the master's there a couple of weeks ago in UCD as well. Actually, but, yeah.
Congratulations! It's a tough road.
Well,
Following your move, yeah, following your move from UCD, you arrived to Dundalk in July, and you were kind of coming in at a very kind of unique point, because this was probably one of the key years of that Stephen Kenny era. You know, players going in have spoken about, you know, how welcoming and the culture and everything. For a young lad, you know, going into such a competitive environment as Dundalk, was it daunting, or was it something that you were relishing the challenge of?
It was daunting enough, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie, it was. Like, you're going into a team full of serial winners, like, and you know, I was coming from a UCD team where I was one of the oldest players. You know, there's a big difference, like, going into a changing room full of real men who have won titles and know what it takes to win. But no, I was young and naive, and I just embraced it, to be honest, and I enjoyed it there. Like, it was a real eye opener for me, you know, in regards to what it takes to win. You know what I mean, at that level. But it was fantastic. It was a great environment and a great club. Like,
I see your feet weren't, you know, firmly planted in the ground, and all of a sudden you're in a cup final. You ended the year with both a league winners medal and a cup final medal. It's a hell of a turnaround in 6 months.
Yeah, it was a big change for me. God, it was great. It was good days. Like, it was great. That was a great year and a great team we had there. Like, but yeah, it was a big change coming from UCD in the first division to straight to the top. You know, you compete in the Viva and you're, you know, winning doubles. But that was kind of the mentality at the club at that time. It was everything we were in. They were competing and potentially winning. You know.
And, you know, obviously the following season there was the change with Stephen Kenny going to the Republic of Ireland setup. He would start with the 21s and then he would go on to senior management. Are you surprised as, you know, from I know that we spoke off air that your time with Stephen was quite limited, but did you see even at that stage that what qualities he brought that would be, you know, imperative to what's hopefully the start of success at the Republic of Ireland?
Yeah, you could. As soon as I stepped in the door, you could see just the aura that kind of came with, you know, with Stephen and the respect he had from players. Unique, like, and I probably haven't really seen it since. To be honest, like, it's yeah, he was fantastic and everything he done, and I could sense at that time that you knew that he was, you know, he's coming off the back of potentially going to win a double. He had hugely successful years before that in Europe and different things. So I always kind of had it in the back of my mind that I've seen Stephen as managing at a higher level. And then when he got that gig, you know, with the Republic, it's a fantastic job, a dream job, like, for any Irishman to get, like. And now he's flying, and I'm looking forward to these games now in the next couple of weeks.
Georgie, the following season, you know, it was the first season under Vinnie Perth. One of my kind of big memories of you was that it was up in the Brandywell, and came on to score a late header in, I think it was either the EA Sports Cup or the FA. You were wearing the purple jersey. That's all I remember from it. But you notched in with some very, very important goals. I think that must have been, I think with the preseason and working amongst that environment, you really did kick on at that stage.
Yeah, I was growing into that role a little bit more. Like, a couple of people had warned me before I went to Dundalk that I'm not a striker who comes off the bench. You know, people there's certain type of players that suit coming off the bench and being impacted. And I was actually warned by a few people, whatever staff, that, you know, you be careful, like, you might, you know, that can be a difficult role to adapt to, like. But I feel like after a while there, I feel like I was reasonably impactful coming off the bench. I kind of molded to that role fairly well, because you have to, you know what I mean? You have to try and adapt, and I felt like I did all right. I was coming on, even if it was only 10 minutes, I felt like I was nearly always getting a chance or a half a chance. And as you say, yeah, I chipped in with a few big goals. But yeah, that was another good, enjoyable year as well, yeah, at the club.
We were just one penalty shootout away from achieving it all. It was was heartbreaking to say the least, I'd say.
It was, and it's fine margins. Football is a strange game. Like, it would have been possibly one of the first times that, or in years, if even ever, that would have been achieved for us and for Vinny at the time. But yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Like how God, the margins are so slim. But that's life. What can you do? You know.
But even with that, Aaron McAniff scores the cup final, what looked like the cup final winning penalty. I have a match report written, ready to go, ready to hit send. Then Michael Duffy goes up and scores an equaliser, and I have to rewrite the whole thing. It was a crazy match, but it was just disappointing in the end. But as you said, fine margins, like.
Fine margins, yeah. And Maggie's goal, I was just on the pitch.
Oh, you had a really big opportunity as well. It was just Alan Manis. I think he got his fingertips to it. It was just crazy.
I don't know how he got down there. I remember there was one I just kind of hit it over in the half turn. I was in the box, and this was really late. This was really, really late as well. Oh, it could have been what could have been like, you know.
Well, you'll have you got your chance in the end against for Rotherham, and you got your goal at the last minute, so you did all right. The following season, look, it's well documented. It was at a very, very difficult period for a lot of reasons, both on and off, with COVID, obviously with Harry Taff passing away. But halfway through the season, you went and you joined St. Pat's Athletic with Stevie O'Donnell. Now he's back at Dundalk. Are you kind of surprised? I know. With Evan, I know we're coming up to halfway through the season. Were you surprised at, you know, his impact as a manager? And, you know, could you even see from when you went to him how good he was going to, well, potentially how good he was going to be?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. From day dot, even from first time speaking to him as a manager, and from seeing him in his role at Dundalk, you can tell that Stevie's going to be successful. Like, he's really driven and all in, like, you know, in what he's doing. He's, you know, fully consumed by the role. No, it didn't surprise me in the slightest. Like, I didn't. The only thing I'm disappointed is that I didn't play that well for him at St. Pat's and didn't score many goals for him, which is the only frustrating thing for me, because I would have loved to. Like, I would have loved to do well down there for Stevie. But no, it didn't surprise me at all. And I imagine now in the next couple of years he'll kick on again, because he knows what he's at, and he has a real, you know, solid philosophy on how to build a team and how he wants his team to play. Like, and they're going well at the minute. So you never know; they're not out of the title race yet. Like,
no, well, I'm not going to put anything out in the atmosphere. I don't want to jinx anything at the moment. You then the following season, obviously the loan deal expired. Your time at Dundalk ended with you moving to Bohemians under Keith Long. Keith Long is a very revered, well-liked manager. But Bohs as a club are traditionally, you know, they're one of the big clubs. And last season you had you did really well in the league, but it was Europe where you guys really came alive last year, and yourself, you did as well. You were just coming out of COVID and you got to play your games in the Aviva Stadium and you got some massive wins there. How do you sum up your time at Bohemians as a whole?
Yeah, it's tricky, because if we had again, we're talking about penalty shootouts. Like, if we had won that cup, FAI Cup at the end of the year, I would be straight away. I'd be saying that was an unbelievable success. It was a fantastic year. But like, you're a penalty shootout away from a trophy and things being all rosy, like. But it's fine margins. I enjoyed every minute of it. Like, I know the fans wanted a trophy, like, ridiculously bad. It's been years since they won a trophy, and I felt like that was such a good opportunity. But I wouldn't class the year as a failure. I know we didn't make Europe, but we're a penalty shootout away from everything being perfect. Like, and that's what still kills me. Like, you know, thinking back to that day, because I would have loved to win it for Keith and for Trev and even for Buckle there who left. Pains me thinking about it, but yeah, it was a great year. I enjoyed every minute of that year. God Almighty, the run in Europe was special. It's probably something that I might never experience again. Like, we won 3 home games on the bounce in the Aviva. Like, you know, in Europe, this is nearly unheard of. Like, for a club like Bohs, it was just kind of annoying. We could have got 20,000 or more in the Aviva probably if we had the restrictions hadn't been in place. But no, it was really special. Like especially the win against Pauk at home.
Yeah.
And then even going away to Pauk was a serious experience, like for us and for me. That was probably my first real season as a central figure in a team in the league, you know. So it was I took a lot of pride in us kind of being and having that run and doing reasonably well, you know.
Did you play in the game against the AK Larnaca in 2018?
I don't think I was on I was there. I know that I was definitely there. But I don't think I came on. I don't think so.
No. Because for all I've ever heard, like the reason why I'm saying is that when you played, you know, the team in Greece, all I remember is that the boys complaining that the heat was something surreal. Was it a similar kind of situation when you were playing over in Greece?
Oh, it was ridiculous, yeah. And I do remember Larnaca being roasting, but yeah, Greece was.
And they made you wear the black jerseys.
I know. What can you do? But no, yeah, that heat's a big factor, and then they obviously they're used to it, they're acclimatized to it, like the opposition. But what killed us, I don't know if you can remember, we were 2 up in the Aviva against Pauk with 5 or 10 minutes to go, and we conceded such a sloppy goal, and that kind of, you know, give them if we had been 2 up going into that game away to Pauk, I would have fancied us to, you know, battle down the hatches and hold out maybe. But yeah, what could have been again, yeah.
It's fine margins. There was a lot of will he, won't he when you finished it, you know, finish the season at Bows. I know that you went off injured in that cup final, which was very unfortunate for you personally, because I don't think you ever got really a fair crack at a cup final, to be honest. You know, there was a lot of discussions about, you know, whether you were going to stay. I even remember hearing a certain journalist saying he could end up at Dundalk again, you know, but that didn't materialize. What was it about Rotherham that allured you to go to there? Because I'm sure there was other offers on the table, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I can't really say on your behalf.
Yeah, it was. Mostly it was down. I'd be conscious enough of, you know, the type of player I am, and you know, my style and what suited to me. Listen, I wouldn't be. You'll know, I wouldn't be as technically gifted as a lot of players and a lot of strikers. So I was conscious of going to a team where I would fit and that the styles would match. You know, and Rotherham was kind of perfect. Rotherham been in contact with me for months, like from the middle of the last year before Europe. Whereas a lot of teams have kind of jumped on the bandwagon. You know, after the season when I've scored a lot of goals and been whatever named player of the year, teams have come in and say we want you and all this. But Rotherham had kind of been there from day dot, like back a while. So that was a big factor as well. Combining that with their style, they're real direct, long ball, kind of any chance we get, you have to cross it. Like so. I just felt like it suited me. You know, if I can get up and running and fit and strong here, this club probably gives me the best chance of having a good go at it, you know.
It's been a long year for you, because in reality you started pre-season the January previous and you've only finished a couple of weeks ago. So it's a bit like, you know, a lot of players that switch halfway through the year. It's an awful long year, but you're enjoying the break anyway.
Enjoying the break, yeah. I'm back up in the hills here in Donegal, so yeah, enjoying it surely.
Good. And obviously the championship next year, it's another step up. You might meet an old teammate at some stage in Jamie McGrath, who's now at Wigan. It's a big prospect, but obviously, while I don't want to pin your collar or anything like that, or annoy you too much, but obviously playing in the championship and maybe playing and scoring regularly will obviously be aspirations of getting another phone call from Stephen might be on the cards. Is that something that's obviously, I know it's one step at a time, but for a player like yourself, you know, you come from the League of Ireland and you've progressed. It kind of makes you one of our own even more so.
Yeah, you do get that kind of feeling. You feel like everyone wants you to. There's a real base there who want you to succeed because you've come from their league, you know, and that's pretty cool. Like, it's a pretty cool feeling. But no, the way I look at it and the way I think people should look at it is if you just need to prioritize your, you know, the day to day in your club, and if I do somehow end up, I don't know how, but somehow end up getting in and playing regularly and scoring a few goals, then I'll probably not be a million miles away. But the priority is just to try and get in and try and get playing, you know, and that's what you focus on. And then whatever comes then comes. But no, it's going to be a tough task for me now. Like our squad's going to be much bigger this year. You know, I imagine we'll probably make quite a few signings now. So it's not going to be easy, but I'm looking forward to it. Like it's it'll be a good experience if anything, you know, just to see the championship and see the clubs in the stadiums, and hopefully I can have a bit of an impact.
Listen, Georgie, thanks very much for taking the time with me today. Really, really appreciate it, and I hopefully will get to see you in the Rotherham colours in the face next year soon.
Hopefully. Cheers, Ciaran.
No problem. Thanks very much. And my thanks to Georgie Kelly for that chat this afternoon. It was great to talk to him. Vlfc won their first FAI Junior Cup with a 1-0 win over Pike Rovers in a decider in Turner's Cross on Sunday. Conor Kilgannon was the hero for Vlfc, as his 53rd minute strike was enough to seal the title for the Waterford club. Our reporter Sam Curtin was there, and he got this post-match reaction.
I'm delighted to be joined by Vlfc manager Conor Code. Conor, first of all, congratulations. First ever national title, or at least at FAI Junior Cup level for Villa. How does it feel?
It's a phenomenal feeling. It's an absolutely historic day for us here. You know, the start of the season, it's only something that we could have only dreamed of. We've never won our own local league at a Premier level, so to go and do that last week and then back it up with the big one today, it's stuff dreams are made of.
Yeah, it's fantastic the amount of green and white. It seems that the Daisha, they've really invaded Cork today at Turner's Cross. You must be, touched really to see the amount of support coming out for you lads today.
No, 100%. It's a massive club effort here today. Again, the group of players that we have there, there's so many of them have played with our club's underage and come through into our Premier team from our school and our academy and our youth and underage teams. So it means a huge amount to them, to their parents, to their families, but also for them to be now involved for the younger ones that are there, that were at the game today, and to provide that inspiration is again something days like this just bring clubs together, and phenomenal support, and just say massive thank you to all the people involved at the club who travelled up here today, you know, all our sponsors. Really made a difference in getting us over the line when we needed it.
And you mentioned there your success in the Waterford League last week. What do you think this can do for Waterford football in general?
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great to, you know, again, we have a competitive league in Waterford, and it takes a bit of winning, and I think that'll be shown by the fact that a club the size of Villa have never won one. But again, look, as soon as that won last week, we really turned our focus to this one, and it's great to be able to put Waterford football on the map and represent the county in terms of getting this over the line. Just a historic day for us.
So I'm delighted to be joined here by Craig Dunphy of Vlfc. Craig, first of all, congratulations. First ever Junior Cup victory for Villa. Must be a great day for the club.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Look, we had our first Premier League in Waterford there last week, so to make it a first Junior Cup, it's unbelievable.
What do you think this could do as well for local football in Waterford, which has been, I guess, you know, really growing in the last few years? Not just in terms of like the playing numbers, but also the success of other local clubs as well.
Yeah, look, we took 12 Carrickwood in 2008, Crystal in 06, but today's our day and we finally did it. So it's just great. It's great for Waterford football. The whole county, the whole league is behind us. So.
Yeah, just to see like the immense support coming down, you know, making their way to Cork as well. Like, you know, it's a long enough journey, even if it is in Munster as well.
Yeah, like the crowd was unbelievable today. They were behind us from the first whistle, but there's one man that can't be here today. Unfortunately, we lost him at the start of the year. And that's what the RB4 is for. So it's been unbelievable.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you about that lovely gesture, lovely, I suppose, for a great stalwart of the club.
Oh, Roy was unbelievable for us. He had a few years away in Waterford, but proper pro, and today Roy's looking down on us. He's up there looking down on us, and we did it for him.
Thanks very much, Craig. Cheers.
Cheers, thank you.
So I'm delighted to be joined here by Luke Walsh of Vlfc. First of all, Luke, congratulations, your first ever FAI Junior Cup final victory. Well done.
Thanks very much. It's great to make history for Villa again twice in 2 weeks now. I only had to win the league back 2 weeks ago, and it's just great to see all the fans here giving a welly for us every time we do something right. So it's great to be here.
On that, like, you know, it seems to be a Waterford takeover of Cork today here at Turner's Cross, a sea of green and white.
Yeah, it's excellent to see. You know, we didn't expect that many people to come up, and when we came out then, after a warm up for kick off, you see all the lads up green and white flags, navy tops, screaming, shouting our names.
What do you think this could do for Waterford football in general?
Well, this should bring a massive up to Waterford football, you know. It should bring a lot of eyes to Waterford now, and hopefully kick on one of the Waterford teams get further in these competitions.
And I know, okay, Conor was the match winner today, but I mean that block that you made there, the shed, and that was one of the match winning tackles I think of the day as well. Talk me through that.
To be honest with you now, my legs were gone, so I was in the right place, right time is all it was now. Luckily enough, I could stretch my leg out for the last time, you know.
Our thanks to Sam Curtin for those reports, and once again, congratulations to Vlfc of Waterford in their Junior Cup final win. We're going to go through the fixtures, and Diarmuid's back in the hot seat where we're going to have a look at the games this Friday night, starting with the fixtures all kicking off at 7:45. UCD are playing Slider Rovers while Dundalk entertain St Patrick's Athletic. Derry City and FinalWhistle face in the Northwest Derby, while Bohemians take on Rotherham United, and there is an 8 o'clock kickoff with Shamrock Rovers and Shelburne in the Dublin Derby. Diarmuid, if we can start with a game that's quite intriguing in all of this, it would have to be Dundalk versus St Patrick's Athletic.
It would, you know, the battle between third and fourth, definitely when we're talking about European places, you want to knuckle down and to get your place already in the league table. And, you know, Dundalk are looking firm in third place. Now they're only a point behind Derry. I know Derry are obviously playing FinalWhistle. If they can get the 3 points there, they'll probably just stay that little bit ahead of Dundalk. But Dundalk have that full, you know, they're full good of their performances of late. They definitely look strong to definitely take the European place. But if St Patrick's Athletic can show what they did on Monday, very, very intriguing game at Oriel Park. You'll definitely have an entertaining game to watch for around the grounds on Friday.
Indeed, I will. A game that Derry City really need is a win just to kind of get back into winning form, and no better than taking on your local rivals. A derby by all accounts. FinalWhistle have had good results in the past in these games, but Rory Higgins will be looking for this to get the full complement of the win.
Yeah, I suppose three defeats in a row, winless, and 5. Not the way that Derry would be hoping to look at their league form. I mean, when you're a couple of points behind Shamrock Rovers, when you were full steam ahead, league leaders were looking very confident only a few weeks ago, and now, you know, you're chasing your tail. They could have got the result, as I said, on Monday, that would have seen them, you know, claw back a couple of points against Shamrock Rovers, but they definitely need the 3 points. They're at home and in front of a strong Brandywell crowd. They'll definitely be looking for those points. And, you know, FinalWhistle are in a similar boat of form at the moment. They've lost four in a row, and, you know, Ollie Horgan won't want to go into a relegation playoff. He'll want to try and keep them up by whatever means necessary. But I think it's you know, all signs look for a Derry win, unfortunately, on Friday, to be honest with you.
Another intriguing fixture is Bohemians versus Georgie United, two teams that are quite close to each other, so they'll be looking to get points. Keith Long, there's a lot of, I personally don't believe in it. There's a lot of talk now that he's under pressure. I can't see that happening. But Georgie United completely boosted by that win over Shamrock Rovers. That's a very interesting time. Could be a wee bit mouth-watering.
Yeah, you know, 3 points separating them in the table at 7th against 8th, which are where you look at both. Bohemians are in 7th, and I suppose there is a lot of talk on Keith at the moment, but, you know, that Bohemians team might be in a little bit of transition at the moment. You know, you were just talking to Georgie in the interview there. I mean, how important would he be for Bohemians again this year to have him up front? And, you know, they might be missing 1 or 2 key players in that squad, but, you know, they're still a very competitive team. They can, you know, get the results when it needs be. But, you know, with Rotherham United going, you know, at home, getting those 3 points against the league leaders, they're full of momentum going into this game, and knowing that, you know, if they get the win, they'll draw a level with them and, you know, get that little bit of extra, you know, leverage over FinalWhistle in 9th place. You know, they'll definitely be a tough team to contend with on Friday.
A team that's on the new manager bounce, or the departure of a manager bounce, against a side that is massively looking for a win at homes. UCD versus Slider Rovers. Can you see that the students might pull off a shock against one of the informed sides at the moment?
It is hard to tell. you know, if UCD can get that result, we've seen them, you know, a couple of weeks ago, they got the draw against Dundalk, and, you know, they have shown a couple of games where, you know, they lost 3-0 to Shamrock Rovers last week, and, you know, listening to people's comments in the game, it wasn't, you know, it was a game that looked a bit like an exhibition match for Shamrock Rovers, almost like a training drill at times, that UCD weren't really in it. And Slider Rovers are a team that, you know, they can get the results. They have a good, attractive team. You know, I was a bit shocked by the news that they would have seen their manager depart. You know, someone like Liam Buckley, who's got that experience in the league, and, you know, they're only in 5th in the league table. You know, they're not relegation struggling. I don't see why they wanted to get a new manager in to oversee them toward the latter stages of the season. But, you know, they're a quality team, and, you know, they'd be looking to try and finish in the European places. But I don't see UCD pulling off a shock this weekend against them. Based on what we've seen them on Monday night, they got the result they wanted against Derry, and, you know, they got up at the scruff of the neck, and I can see them getting a similar result this weekend.
Shamrock Rovers versus Shelburne. This is a really, like, this is a Dublin derby that's got an awful lot on it now, because you've got Stephen Bradley and Damien Duff, two very young, impressive managers, two teams that really like to play football. It could be an absolute humdinger, or it could be a damn squib. We're not too sure, but I don't think it's going to be in the middle. I think there's going to be a lot riding in this game.
Yeah, no, it's definitely going to be a game that's going to have plenty of action, plenty of drama. Might see a bit of development coming in from Shelburne, a bit trying to get those results. You know, Shamrock Rovers won't have Danny Mandroyu available this weekend, of course, with his suspension. You know, but they do have plenty of other players in their arsenal. They have some fantastic players to call upon when needed, and, you know, like, Duffer has the history with Shamrock Rovers as well. I'm sure him and Stephen Bradley are friends off the field, but come 8 o'clock on Friday, both of them are well noted to give it socks on the sideline. It's definitely going to be a game to watch on Friday. I can't see it being a dead rubber game between two teams who are, you know, they're local rivals, but, you know, Shamrock Rovers will be looking to keep, you know, to forget about Monday night and get back onto winning ways, while Shelburne just want to keep the momentum going, and, you know, they could finish, you know, higher up in the league table if they somehow got a result. So God only knows what's going to happen, but, you know, who knows?
Who knows? Let's go to the first division. A couple of interesting ties. You've got Waterford FC versus Treaty United, Galway United versus Cork City. That's the game that's going to stand out for a lot of people. Another intriguing tie would be Cove Ramblers versus Longford Town, while Bray Wanderers take on Athlone, and all of those kickoffs are at 7:45. Let's start with the kind of the team that's down in the southwest. You're looking at Waterford versus Treaty. Waterford on the rise, Treaty looking to try and get into those playoff spots as well. That's a big tie, because Treaty, I think a lot of people would agree, they haven't really kicked on this season yet.
No, you're right. Treaty haven't really shown their form from last year, whether it's, you know, a couple of players that have left the squad and they mightn't have had, you know, the funds. They were still only, you know, a club that's two years since they've been established in the division, and, you know, they've done a lot better than most would have expected Treaty to do on a very limited budget, and, you know, the time frame that it came together, that they created a club that could challenge for a first division title, and they got into the playoffs last year. I can see them getting into the playoffs again this year, but I think it'll be the same story. They'll make the semi-finals. They've the last 2 weekends, their defense hasn't been the way they wanted it. They've cost, you know, they've conceded some sloppy enough goals. They've, you know, they have led games, but they just haven't grabbed it by the scruff of the neck and managed to grind for the 3 points. And when you look at Waterford coming in, 5 wins in a row, they're looking like what we saw earlier on in the season, before they got the little bump in the road that saw Ian depart from them. And it's going to be hard not to say that Waterford are going to win that Munster derby. They look in far better shape, but if Treaty can pull out a result, they're definitely going to need it in order to try and keep Wexford away from the final playoff spot. Galway
versus Cork, I don't think it needs any introduction. It really is just going to be mouth-watering pie.
Yeah, the John Caulfield derby, if you want to say it, his current team against his ex team, and John's going to want to win another league title this season if he stays at Galway. We were talking about it earlier, managerial merry-go-rounds in the league and what's going to happen, but they're 2 points to the good. They've shown what they can do, and with Cork dropping points at home last week against Wexford, momentum looks to be toward Galway. They grafted earlier on in the season against Cork. They look that little bit fresher and look a bit readier for it. But Cork know that they have to get 3 points out of it. They have to get something out of this game to try and stay behind Galway. If they lose this weekend, that's a 5-point gap. We have seen bigger leads slip in the league and points come and go, but if Galway can get a 5-point lead before the halfway mark in the season, it's going to be crucial for their title success this season.
Another team that's been quietly doing their business in the first division has to be Longford Town. They've got a tricky, long trip down to Cove this weekend. 3 points on the road would be brilliant for Gary Cronin and his side.
Yeah, they definitely need those 3 points. That defeat against Waterford was not how they wanted to perform against a team who are also vying for promotion into the Premier Division, and they haven't, forms coming and going. 1 win in 5, not the best. Cove haven't, they've shown spells of form. They have a good goal scorer in Benone, O'Brien Whitmarsh, and they're going to want to give him possession and give him those chances in front of goal. But Longford have the tactics. They were in the Premier Division last year. They want to try and get back up there this year. They need that little bit of key and class to try and get them back into that stage. And look, it's going to be an interesting tie down in St. Coleman's Park, but they need to show why they got into the Premier Division in the first place if they want to try and get back up there. And 3 points here would definitely be crucial to try and get even closer to Waterford in terms of the league table. But they will definitely get promoted, but they need to get that form before we get to those final stages of the season for sure.
Finally, 2 teams that are struggling in the first division at the moment is Bray Wanderers, and then you've got also Athlone Town. Athlone Town did nearly pull off a massive shock against Cork City a couple of weeks ago, but to no avail. They were undone by a very, very late goal. But Bray Wanderers, it's just hasn't clicked at the moment, and the whole thing with Pat Devlin a couple of weeks ago, as we spoke about on this program, doesn't seem to have calmed things down a bit. It's could Athlone get the win and get the bounce?
I mean, Athlone haven't had a win this season. They've came close at that game in Cork, but I suppose they're 2 teams that are definitely in need of a much needed win to try and boost a little bit of momentum and confidence in the squad. Neither of them are going to potentially challenge for a playoff position spot this season. They're both, I'd say, away with it at the moment. And Athlone, they find facilities up there. They're a team that could definitely, a bit more recruitment in there, could definitely be a challenger maybe next season. But Bray as well, they've been there a couple of years ago, but they haven't shown it this year. They've not clicked as a unit on the field at times. I've watched a couple of their games, and they just haven't been that team that I've seen in the past. I've seen them play in the Premier Division numerous times. They were a much better competent outfit, and they are 3 points behind Wexford in the league table, which is just 6 points off of the promotion places. So they're not too far behind, but they definitely need, it's 2 teams that are vying for a win, but I think it's just more for bragging rights over the 2 clubs, if I'm honest.
Yeah, we'll see you on Friday for the Around the Grounds, which is always live after the full-time whistle. So hopefully we will have plenty to talk about and plenty of coverage then. But Diarmuid, as always, thank you so much for your insight and coverage, and of course your friendship as well. That's most important. So, okay, sorry. And that's my lot. We got cut off there. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. But listen, that's my lot for today. I hope that you have enjoyed the podcast. Wherever you're going around the grounds this weekend, make sure that it's a good one. I'm looking forward to my trip to Oriel Park, and we will see you next week for another podcast. Take care, God bless, and enjoy the week.